We're global. We're international. We have speakers from different countries, and today we have our special guest, Inek Leffingwell. He is an author and he is a speaker, and at the same time, he is also a business advisor. So listen carefully, especially if you're thinking about starting a business because you are ready for success. Well, anyway, I don't want to take so much time. I'm going to present to you right away. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. It's great to be on your YouTube channel, Vea. I'm so privileged to be able to serve your audience, and I'm super excited for what we get to talk about today.
Yes, and so tell us about you, a little bit about you, so the audience will know you.
Yeah, so my name is Inek Leffingwell, and I help speakers, authors, coaches, and other high-level entrepreneurs to be able to get paid for their advice. A subject that I love talking about is mentorship, because I believe that mentorship is one of the fastest paths to succeeding in whatever you're trying to accomplish. And being a mentor to others is one of the most highly paid and most valuable ways to impact people's lives in the marketplace. And there's a lot of people who want to know what you or your audience have to offer. And so I help them to get paid for their advice by creating premium mentorship programs. And I've been coaching business owners since 2017, and I've been a professional speaker for 9 years and studying digital marketing since I was 12. I just got really obsessed and thirsty with wow, digital marketing is fascinating. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 10 years old, and just always been enjoying the entrepreneurship spirit. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to serve your audience who are also entrepreneurs, or those who want to be entrepreneurs, because I believe this is entrepreneurship is a good idea, because entrepreneurship is a God idea.
Wow, that's so impressive. I think you're very young, and so that add more impressive, because as young as you are, you can actually start a business now, and that's what Inek is doing, So tell us about your book, because I know you wrote a book. So you're an author now, right?
Yes, the Lord bless. Became a best-selling author of the book, I Want a Mentor, Now What Do I Do? Available on Amazon now. And in this book, it's teaching people how that they could meet master mentors, how they can maximize the mentorship relationships they have, and how to master any skill in half the time. It's especially for speakers, authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs who want to understand, who realize in entrepreneurship, there's a lot of new things, a lot of new skills, a lot of things we don't understand. But one of the fastest ways to accomplish anything that we want in life is to get extremely clear on what we want, and then find someone who has a result that we want, and then pay them whatever they charge to find out what they did, in either in time or money. And then 4, do what they did. And 5 is continue until what? Till you have the results that you want. And that's why I'm so passionate about mentorship, because I look in my life that every major transformation, every major advancement or breakthrough that I've had, it's been somehow connected to whether a book, a conversation with a mentor, or a course, or an event, or there's some sort of advice or mentorship from someone who has results that I want, that has helped me to advance and to be able to move forward in my business, in my life, in my journey. And I think that when people can unlock the secrets of finding a mentor, then there's no limit to who they can become and what they could accomplish in their business and life.
Wow, wow, wow. Right, exactly. And I just want to kind of talk a little bit more about digital marketing, because you mentioned that you started at the age of 10.
Yeah, I signed up for my first digital marketing from Pat Flynn when I was 12 years old. And I was selling candy bars door to door when I was 10 years old, buying from
Oh,
the store, sell them for more, and gum when I was in elementary school and middle school. But yeah, digital marketing when I was 12.
how is, can you elaborate a little bit more about digital marketing? Because it seems like digital marketing is something that could be a way for someone who wants to start a business and don't know where to go. And plus the fact that it's digital already. So it could be a little bit easier for someone who are thinking about starting a business. So could you explain a little bit more about what is digital marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll just start like, what is marketing? Marketing is like in Acts 17:17, it talks about Paul and how he was daily in the market speaking to the Greeks and to the Jews. And so
Mhm.
he had a message and he was going to the market. That's where the traffic or the thoroughfare or the people were. And when you look at marketing as a core, marketing is getting your message to the masses to move the multitudes in a way that matters. And marketing is the lifeblood of any movement, of any product, service, or any contribution that you want to have. This marketing is the thing that is able to help put you before the people who you're called to serve. And because of that, this is whether you are an entrepreneur, you have a business, and you are and you're wanting to grow your business. It's most people, they need to realize that no one, like, let's say you're an author. If you're writing a book, that one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is they don't realize what business they're actually in. They think if they write books that they're in the business of writing books. That's not true. You're in the business of marketing your books.
Mhm.
Insert whatever the product is. You're not in the business of insert your product. You're in the business of marketing your product. Because if you don't learn marketing, then your message will die on your lips. Then your solution will not serve the people you're called to serve. So like digital marketing is amazing because it's taking these old traditional medias where, like, before I'd have to go on a radio to reach a general audience, and it's harder to reach who I'm called to serve, where now instead of radio you have podcasts, and where podcasts have a more specialized audience, a very unique people who I could direct a message to and resonate with them more so than speaking to a general indiscriminate mass.
Mhm.
So before you had like reality TV, now you have Instagram. Before you had the newspaper, now you have Facebook. There's digital marketing has made it available free or cheap to be able to reach the people who otherwise you had to pay a fortune to be able to get in front of. It's not so anymore. And anyone has like one of the greatest marketing tools in their phone. If you want to change the world, like pick up your phone and record. And you could literally, in the power of your pockets, transform the
Right.
world and speak a message that changes lives.
Wow, that's very true. And I like the line you said about book. You know, when you write a book, it's not just about writing a book, but actually you're writing a book like marketing. You market what your product is in your book. And that's very true. And a lot of, I would say a lot of books that I've read is basically telling us about what they did or what they learned, and some tricks and tips. I'm sorry, I'm a travel agent, so I end up saying trips.
That's
so,
awesome. I love that.
so
And your
anyway,
background.
so anyway, that's very true. A lot of books you read, okay, they tell you this is what you can do to get better with, uh, but of course they have the message. They're marketing their message the same time, but it was clear, very clear for you to speak up that you, when you write a book, you're actually marketing your product in the book. And that is something that for most of you that think about writing a book, because you know we all have a story to tell, and writing a book is one way of sharing it to the whole world. And so with that said, by Inek, your book, if you ever write a book, then you keep in your mind that you're writing a book about what you can help others with. You're actually marketing yourself, and keep that in mind because that will help you. That's value, a very, very good value that we can take from INIC, right? So, the other question I would ask is, you mentioned about the very first when you started, when we started our interview, you mentioned about you want to make sure you know what you want. That means clarity of what do you want in life? What do you want to do in business? Because if you don't have that, it's going to be hard. It's not like you can't succeed, but it will take you longer, right? So can you
Absolutely.
how not I would say how can one figure out, or how can one find a way to find their goal, or their what they want to do, what kind of business they want, or everything about starting a business, the clarity of what business they want to be.
Absolutely, Vea. That's a great question, and a question I get asked a lot. So in my
Mm-hmm.
book, I have an entire chapter where I go into detail about, it's called Networking on Purpose, and identifying that purpose, having that definite aim. And the way I answer that question is showing people that it all begins with what is it that you want in life? What is your purpose
Mm-hmm.
for, let's say, if you're starting a business, what kind of business do you want? There's so much freedom and options in business. You can design a business in a way. I believe that you have to design a business in a way that serves you at the highest level in order for you to serve your clients at a highest level. Because
Mm-hmm.
some people create a business because they're like, oh, well, I want to go like make money. And then when they start like making money or doing something, they realize like, I actually hate the people that I'm serving and I'm miserable. I hate waking up in the
Yeah.
day to go serve because they're constantly complaining. They're always like after, and it's like I have little sympathy for them. Like, what did I do? I didn't build myself a business, like build a dream. I built a nightmare. Now I have to live in it. So what you could do is you want to, like Stephen Covey, it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In his book, he mentions you want to begin with the end in mind and getting clear on what is that end. Do you want a lifestyle business? Like for me, when I was starting, I had like 15 failed business attempts when over the years, and it wasn't until 2017 that I went from being a poor missionary, homeless, living in my car, to having a 6-figure family business, generating six
Wow.
figures a year with passive and residual income. But the major difference, what is the biggest difference between those 15 failed business attempts and then finding that 16th one that took off?
Mm-hmm.
I found a business mentor. I found someone
Oh.
who already found their fortune and could show me the path where those other 15 ways that I tried and failed, I was missing pieces. But once I got a mentor, an advisor who could help me in business and show me the way that they've done it and what to avoid, they were further along the path. I was like, oh, things start to make sense. And I started getting clarity. And I
Mm-hmm.
began to realize more about goals and visions and options. He taught me, like the first millionaire mentor I had, his name is Dave MacArthur, and he was explaining to me how there's different business models. He's called some of them dinosaur business models, and like they're designed from the beginning, where it's like some business models you choose, if you make $100,000, you have 100,000 responsibilities. Or if you make $1 million, then you have 1 million responsibilities. And as
Mm-hmm.
it grows, like your stress grows too. But there's other business models that you could use that gives you the freedom, the lifestyle, the ability to travel. You have location freedom, time freedom. And I began to realize that's actually what I want in business. I
Mm-hmm.
want freedom to spend time with who I want, spend time where I want, and doing what I want. And because of that, I designed businesses that are going to allow me to serve people and where my gifts are, and give me the freedom where I don't have to be stuck in the business, but I could work on the business. And now I've been able to enjoy the freedom where I love the people I serve. I wake up with enthusiasm and passion, and I'm excited. And I really, truly believe I'm living my dream life. And it's funny you say that because it was actually, there's a process that we give in our book, a sheet that's called your Finding Your Life's Definite Aim worksheet. And we show people exactly how you could identify your life's definite aim. And then from that definite aim, because fuzzy targets don't get hit. And I believe an aimless life is a living death. And if you
Yes.
can, when you identify your definite aim, then all your other decisions may become easier. You can
Yes.
make decisions based on where you're going, not based on where you are now. And you could find mentors based on what your definite aim is, and you're able to, not based on like who you have access now, but who, it's not about who you know, but who you meet and how you meet them. And that's one of the principles I teach in the book. And so in Life's Definite Aim, I went through this process several years ago, and I got clear in answering these questions about what is my definite aim? Where do I want? What is my vision for my health, my finances, my friends, my faith, my fitness? What is my vision for these things? I got really clear on this worksheet. And it's amazing because let's say 4 years later, I'm literally living all those things that used to be a prayer 4 years ago. They were part of that vision, a definite aim, that worksheet that I offer in my book. And I'm like, it's incredible because it's living life by design, not drifting into life by accident.
Wow. So much, so much value there when you were just explaining, I can tell personally, I was like, oh my gosh, he's really good at what he's talking about. He did it, and it shows by the passion that you were when you were speaking. There's that passion that you were able to show, and that's really amazing enough that you come to this place in just what, 4 years? Wow, isn't that impressive? To all the audience, to would you like that? For you, then why not connect with Inek, right? So,
Absolutely.
so is this why you wrote this book? Is there like a mission behind your book?
Without a doubt, I know without a shadow of a doubt that if it were not for the multitude of mentors who have been placed in my path, who have helped me with different phases of marketing, content creation, like product creation, messaging, business, just in general, if it wasn't for the mentors who God has placed in my path using the formula in my book from iwantamentorbook.com, then there's no way that I would be able to be where I am today. And I just remember how I was struggling for 15 failed business attempts. I would try, like I was trying so hard to make things work, and I was serving people and solving problems, or just look like I was working with the best that I knew how, but it seemed like my best wasn't good enough. But it wasn't until like I met someone who was further along the path that I desired to go down. And once I saw that, and I figured out what they did, and I started to learn from them and understand their strategies, I was like, oh, then it's like the laws of life started to open up to me. And it was mentorship that's like the secret that unlocks the storehouses of opportunities and possibilities. And I realized it's not a new principle. I mean, it's very old. You look at King Solomon, which I built my entire business off of the business model of King Solomon. And some people might be like, what? King Solomon had a business model? It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you realize that King Solomon was the wisest and wealthiest man in human history? Like, there's not another person on the planet who is wiser or wealthier than King Solomon. And so, yeah, he had a business model, and we can learn some lessons from him. One of the secrets of Solomon's success was in the book of Proverbs, he mentions, in a multitude of counselors, there is safety. And he says, without counsel, purposes are disappointed. So when you have a purpose, when you have a vision, when you have like a desire, some achievement you're working towards, or a business you're trying to grow, he's saying a multitude of counselors is the key, it's a secret. And then I would say a multitude of mentors, where you don't want, like, you want to find mentors who have the results that you want, figure out what they did. And this is one of the reasons that led to King Solomon succeeding so much. And we can learn those lessons. And why like fumble and like just like fumble like all those years that I went through, when I could just compress those lessons that I've learned specifically about finding the mentor. Because like that's what I believe, there's not really a lot of shortcuts in life, and
Mhm.
success. Like there's just principles you follow. But if there was one shortcut, like the closest thing to a shortcut is having a mentor. Like the fastest path
Exactly.
to getting wherever you want to go, having a mentor. So I'm on a mission. Didn't just write a book. I'm a man on a mission to help people, unite them with the mentors, with the advisors who can help them to get where they want to go so they can fulfill their God-given assignments in the marketplace.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing because um truth is all of us has God-given gifts and we just don't use it. It's so sad having the gift to do something to better your life, and yet we chose to live in fear, doubt, which is, happening. We hear that a lot. But when it comes to faith, you only need one faith. And if you have that faith to believe in God, in you, and then all of those fear, doubt, and any negative things that comes to your life will disappear because you have to grow in God's light. You have to grow your mindset, develop yourself. And personal development is always key because, when you develop yourself, or should I say, invest in yourself, because yourself is the most valuable thing in your life, the best, right? So,
Absolutely.
anyway, yeah, can you add something to that? You're
Well,
so good.
sure.
I
I
want to
mean,
hear from you.
investing in yourself is one of the most eye-opening things that I ever like learned as well. And really, like when you're buying a book, it's not like Jesus put it this way. Um, your heart follows your pocketbook. In Matthew 6:20, he said, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So in other
Mhm.
words, people who pay a little attention. People who pay a lot of attention. People who pay nothing, pay no attention. So a lot of times we look at mentorship, advice, or training as an expense. But like struggling entrepreneurs look at investing, or they look at like buying books or courses or new learnings as an expense, but successful entrepreneurs look at it as an investment and they realize that this is an investment that's going to have a greater return. Like anytime I've invested in my life, attending a seminar, a book, a conference, and just like going through something, it has always been tenfold the value and benefit to me. And it's helped me to like compress decades into days. Like for a book, people, when you look at entrepreneurs, all entrepreneurship is one, it's an entrepreneur is one who finds and solves a valuable problem. And there are people who have dedicated their life work to
Mhm.
solving one specific problem. And they will test it with thousands of different people, spend decades solving this problem, learning distinctions, figuring out what works and what doesn't. And they test it with a variety of different careers and ethnicities and countries and ages and gender, like all across the board. And they find out patterns that works every single time. And they figure out those distinctions and they create a framework that they're able to share again and again and again to get repeatable results, solving just one thing. And then they will take their decades of experience and compress it down into one little book. And then when
Mhm.
we read that book, we can literally download decades of data in days. And we're able to collapse timeframes and learn in days what took others years to learn. And
Mhm.
that's the power of having a book or a course or a mentor. And when you invest in that, then you're able to have all of their life experiences available to you, because it's not about like the question that we often ask is like, well, we get stuck with the tyranny of how. It's like, how do I start this business? How do I do digital marketing? How do I create content? How do I speak? How do I get this YouTube channel up? But the question is not how, but who. When you change your question, you change your life. When you
Mhm.
find the right mentor, it's the who question, not a how question. Then there's no limit to the solutions, the impact, the value that you can contribute and learn, and how you can develop in your skills. Because I always tell my students when I'm coaching entrepreneurs, I tell them like, look, entrepreneurship is the personal development program you never signed up for. Because in order for you to grow your business, you're going to have to develop your mindset, your skills, your abilities. And
Exactly.
that's how it works.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah, that's all you said. Like everything is so true. And um it's an eye-opening, for everyone who's watching to hear you say those words, because a lot of times we have different perception of what business is. Like, okay, I want to go into business, like you said, to excuse me, to earn money. And that's not it. It has to have a purpose. He has to have something for you, at the same time for those who you serve. Because if you don't develop yourself, or you don't grow in your business yourself, then your business is not going to survive, because you alone are going through a lot of stress, and it's not good for you. So it's really true. It's an eye opening, when you said that. And so for those of you who are watching right now, uh, if you find value with what Inek was saying, hey, you need to connect with him and also subscribe to our channel, of course. But anyway, just to kind of end our interview, I'd like to hear from you, maybe one or two tips that you could share to our audience, and so to get them going with, when they want to improve their life, when they want to start their business, something that they can take away in this interview.
Absolutely, I would love to. Now, that one of the things that I teach in my book, I Want to Mentor book.com, is this concept of the law of association. The law of association states that you are an average of the top 5 voices that you spend the most time with. So if you have a goal, say to start a business, start a YouTube channel, to start speaking, write a book, whatever it is, then you want to surround yourself with people who are going in the same direction. And whether that's through a mentor, a seminar, or program, or whatever, like find community who is doing the thing that you desire to do. Surround yourself. And you could also, like some people in our lives, we're going to find, because of that law of association, that when we're with them, we they bring us a few steps back from our goal. They don't advance us. Like I was coaching an entrepreneur recently, and she's like, I've been praying to God that God would help me to spend less time with certain people in my life, because after visiting them, I just started asking, like, how did that help me to advance in my calling, in my assignment, in my life? And she's like, it didn't. And I had fun, but it wasn't fulfilling. And I felt further behind than I was before. And I don't want to be like, there came a point she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. She's like, I'm ready to go forward. And I'm like, that's right. So the first tip I have is sometimes you want to disassociate from certain people. And there's some people that are just like, it's okay, they could be them, but they don't have to be in your life. Now there's other people who are a lot closer. They could be family, it could be friend, like it could be family that you're around, but you can't disassociate with them, but you might want to decrease association. And that could just be limiting some of the time that we spend with certain individuals. And then that's where it's like, in my book, I also mentioned that there's another concept where you can develop association. That's when there's like, you don't have the friends that are the entrepreneurs. You don't have the friends that want to contribute at the way that you do. Or maybe you're surrounded with people who think you're weird because you're an entrepreneur, because you're thinking about a business, because you're learning about sales, because you're learning success books, because you're studying personal development. You're like, what is, oh, you gotten into that thing, or like, you're being weird over here. But that's okay, because you can develop associations. What I mean by that is you can go you can network on purpose. You can find the mentors. You can find the people. Like, you could listen, even by joining this interview and watching Vea's training or YouTube channel, or even watching my YouTube channels, like you're able to view the videos and develop association, and you're putting yourself in that environment where you can go meet people. And then the fourth final tip that I'd give is what I call in my book, distant association. I was listening to a podcast by Craig Rochelle, a leadership podcast, and he was explaining that had the power of mentorship. I'm like, wow. It's like, I never really thought of how mentors were so important. This was like 2016. And he mentioned, he's like, I felt limited with the mentors and leaders in my community who I knew. And I'm like, well, I don't know anybody. I don't know how to find them. What do I do? He says, embrace distant mentors. I'll never forget that. And he's like, you talk about books, podcasts, interviews, like courses, you can embrace distant mentors, and you're able to learn the advice from others, even from a distance through online, because of digital marketing, because of content, and you could be a distant mentor for others. And that's why when you follow these 4 tips, your life, it cannot, will not be without fruit. Your life will be changed, transformed, and you will be reaching goals. You'll go from like one glorious victory to the next, living the life that you dream, the life that you were called to, you were created to live, because you're starting to like align your life with the laws of life that God created, including the law of association. That's one of the laws that I teach in my book about I want to mentor. Now, what do I do? Available on Amazon now. But those are some of the tips that I would give to your audience.
Okay, cool. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. Thank you. There's so much value in every word you said. You know, I will watch this myself. And anyway, how do people reach out to you?
Yeah, so if you want to connect, I would absolutely love to connect. You could follow me on, one of the best ways is go to enochleffingwell.com. And on my website, you'll be able to find my social media. You'll find, you could check out some free stuff that I have available to entrepreneurs who want to get started. You can see my book from the website, enochleffingwell.com. And I would reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. I love meeting new people. And it's exciting. It's a privilege to be able to serve and to join you guys today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Enoch, for this, for your time. I really appreciate it, because there's so much value in this short interview. It's short, but I tell you, there's a lot of value in this interview, because Enoch is so passionate. And so if you want to connect with him, I will add the description, in the description, his contact information. And that's it for today. And thank you very much. And to all our audience, thank you for following us and subscribing us. And I will see you next time for our next guest. Stay tuned.